up now, just to, I guess, you know, you've got to change your signature every now and then, otherwise the copycats will make it a little bit too easy, right? So
What is he now?
He's got the AN disc.
Oh, nice,
Yeah,
nice.
I kind of like it.
I like it. I've never doubted that Amar was the real person playing on this account, right? You can immediately tell that it's him. So I love it. Him and BZM particularly, right? These are the two guys that, the Zoomer generation of Western Europe.
Yeah, and speaking of Zoomers, the point I was going to get into is that this team is, I think, probably one of the first teams that you've cast, Avo, where they're all younger than you. All 5 members. How's that make you feel?
Great, dude. I always felt like a boomer, but I couldn't prove it. Now I have a justification.
Yeah.
All right, can I finally admit I don't know what emotes are. I don't understand Twitch chat as a concept. And the internet honestly escapes me. I'm still stuck in a dial-up age, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, Avo, he's always replying to Twitch chat, but he still uses T9 to reply, so it takes him a little while.
I don't know. Like I keep sending my emails to the Twitch chat, but they get published immediately, and I don't understand what's happening there. Yeah, I'm glad Liquid is not that young. Taiga being the veteran of this team says a lot about the team, I think. As they're gonna have a little bit of a brawl here in the middle lane. Zai checking. He has a swashbuckle. Should be fine for the most part. Zai not gonna die here. Could have also shield crashed, but I think he's decided to go for swashbuckle level 1.
Mickey got the rune with a sleight of fist.
Wow, that was very impressive. Yeah. Look at that. Liquid.
Oh, even Amar's like, that was sick, brother.
That's really cool, actually. Insania with a wholesome tip, and then the wholesome tip back from Amar.
And actually, they're letting Amar mid. I did want to point this out because I saw him have the ward, and his mid bail is kind of indicative of this. So looks like they're going to rotate Matumba. We'll see how long they want to play musical lanes with this kind of setup for. I think it's pretty worth it for Liquid to dodge this Ember matchup, Ember versus Huskar matchup anyway.
Especially because the Lone Druid matchup is actually quite easy for Lone Druid, so I think it's a really good idea as well. I'm glad, though, that I wasn't wrong about the analysis that they wanted the Ember versus the Huskar, because they were confusing me with that pick, right? I'm glad they had the plan anyway. And Amar, of course, the Huskar picker we talked about. He did used to play mid, so I don't think he's... When you usually rotate like a course between positions, especially to the mid position, you see a little bit of weakness from the guy who hasn't played mid here. But both Matumba and Amar have played mid previously, so I think they're pretty fine. There's not going to be much of an issue.
Taiga, they're going to fight to the death. I'm not sure who wins this. Insania was quite confident, given that, of course, Skye has 0 armor. But it looks like with the concussive shots adding up, Insania is going to go ahead and withdraw their duel to the death.
Yeah. They decided that whoever wins gets to own Liquid afterwards, and apparently neither of them want to take over the York. Nazgul gets to keep it. Good thing, good thing. The build before with Skyreth used to be the concussive shot plus auto attacks, right? So I think that you still gotta be a bit wary. Skyreth Mage's range particularly is really dangerous compared to the Grimstrokes, who is okay, but not quite the level of the Skyreth Mage.
Yep. 3 base armor, though, for the Grimstroke is mighty nice, though, to deal with. And now that Insania has the stick, he might be a little bit more incentivized to go tit for tat here with the Skyreth. For now, though, that top lane going quite decently. Middle lane, just checking in on this because, of course, the Huskar matchup can really go one way or the other. Matumba and his bear both constantly on fire. Il Doge, he has it named.
That's a classic for Matumba. Yeah, we'll see... Matumba probably recovering a little bit as he gets a couple more levels. The early levels of Bear are pretty bad, honestly, and you struggle to last it. And of course, the Burning Spears are a nuisance. But usually this lane is one of the better lane matchups you can get against Huskar. Mind you, he's a lane dominator, right? So, yeah, there we go. You see, resummoning the Bear, he sees the opportunity, goes for Huskar, but he does have the inner fire ready just in case to make sure a lucky entangling roots does not kill him.
Yep. Ember safe lane is mighty common as well. We've seen Charlie,
especially in this region.
Yeah, we've seen Charlie from Goon Squad or Aqua, right? They've run that a ton, even when they have the tiny as S4S. I don't know if he's preferred to take it off lane. We didn't ask him about it, but Goon Squad.
We should have actually.
Yeah, Goon Squad, they don't mind. They don't mind running the tiny off lane and the Ember safe. It's been kind of a favorite of theirs. Searing Chains.
BZM has a Dragon Tail, he's gonna be fine.
Good.
It's really difficult to get a kill here against the Dragon Knight because the Inkswell is going to be honestly impossible to trigger. And I think even if you hit him with Searing Chains, 2 points in Dragon's Blood and BZM will probably be fine. You don't really have enough burst damage to kill him. Taiga, though, that's a different story.
Yeah, I think Insania might chase for this as well. He did lose his core here. He's going to have to consume at least a mango, or just wait a second and pop the stick, and he'll be able to hit with the Inkswell. I'm not sure if he can catch up to Taiga, though. Quite a speedy hero, the Skywrath Mage. But he just needs a couple more auto attacks here, even with his paltry 51 damage to get this kill.
You know, you're all right.
Okay. I actually don't know where that line is from.
That would be from the Dota2 anime Dragon's Blood. That is with the Dragon's Blood Arcana, or Immortal, whatever it is, for BZM.
Oh, okay.
What's his name? Davian of something. You should know this. Aren't you the guy who's canonically in love with Davian? Davon? What's his name? Davian, I think.
Davian,
thank you.
Yeah, Davian the Dragonlight. I don't know. I mean, like, does he speak? I'm just checking out his muscles the whole time. I don't. To me, Marcy and Davian, same things, really.
Yeah, of course.
Except Marcy is adorable and a good friend, and Davian is just purely objectified. That's the main difference to me. I don't know. I do like the redesign, though. I think in Dota it does fit a bit weirdly, this model. But I let it pass because I like Dragon's Blood.
Yeah. And speaking of Dragon's Blood, his trusty, not really sidekick, but in his adventuring party, the Mirana's over on the other side. Let's go ahead and see if Taiga's going to live here. And Insania's going to let him go.
A different kind of sidekick, let's say.
Yeah, not quite sidekicks, right? Because they're both on the same level. They're in the same adventuring party, right? Marcy's a bit more of the sidekick, if anything. But Boxy's going to be on the other side. They do have already the points in Searing Chains. It would be weird for Boxy to rotate all the way up top lane, especially while Zai is still quite a low level. So I don't expect to see that too soon. But do keep that in mind. They do have that kind of combo to assist their lockdown, which is not the best, but again, they've got really good combos to make it work.
BZM, they go on him. Taiga's actually recovered full, and they go for Insania, who is a possible kill. However, no Dragon Tail makes this an impossible kill immediately. Insania playing around with a Stroke of Fate as BZM recovers his stun, but has no target to use it on. Bottom lane, Misha could be in trouble himself, has the Decrepify ready. The arrow still hits, and that Decrepify is going to run out as Zai gets the first blood, taking down Misha. Difficult lane in general for Pugna, especially with two mobile heroes in the off lane. You're bound to die at some point. So, unfortunately, it was the first blood.
Yeah, and Shields Crash, even at level 1, is just so much damage. It's 100 damage, or just about there, 90 damage, on a pretty spammable cooldown, which also allows the Pango to tank. Speaking of tank, now BZM's going to be okay. Level 2 Dragon's Blood already, with the Bracer and a full Soul Ring. So his farm is chugging along pretty nicely here, actually.
We see Zai actually talk about the Shield Crash, taking the second point in Shield Crash, as opposed to taking the point in Lucky Shot, which is interesting. So, full damage build here for the Pango. I do like this, a very good D-push build, but it is going to make your laning a little bit harder. However, Zai might consider, there's no way I'm trading against these two ranged heroes, so there's no point in using Lucky Shot at all, which I think he might have a point there.
Yeah, I reckon he does. And
there's Mirana, by the way. She did rotate.
Oh.
In fact, the combo we talked about is here. They're going for Davian. He does have the Dragon's Blood level 2. Use a Dragon Tail before he gets stunned, but BZM, he's the body blocked. Uses the Fairy Fire. He trusts he can get back to the tower, but unfortunately, trust is not enough. He's going to go down.
Yes, he is. There was a stack in progress, which is why the Skywrath or Taiga was missing from the lane. Liquid immediately looking for that play in. And they will find the kill. Who's going to farm the stacks, do you ask? Well, I'm not sure. I know Huskar can farm stacks if you kind of go for more inner fire, but then, of course, you'd be sacrificing points in spear. Careful here. No entangling root, so Amar should be safe. Arrow was for the wagon anyway, just to make sure there's no threat of a push.
Yeah, the hardest part of playing Lone Druid is like activating the entangling claws at the right time, right? That's really tough. You know, some players are really good at it, and some players just... well, he just can't get it. Matumba, I don't think, is one of the luckier players. I've watched him play a lot of Lone Druid, and I think he should never play the lottery. I'm glad he's a Dota player.
Zai doing a good job of pulling the wave here. He's going to make sure this tower doesn't take too much damage. His mid lane, they are... okay, it was an attempt for the arrow. Might as well, right? You miss 100% of the arrows you don't throw. And Boxy was at full mana anyways. He will rotate now back towards the bottom lane, where they are going to just look to bully Zai a little bit more. Of course, Misha is going to be quite limited as to what he can do to a Pangolier.
Yeah, there's not much kill potential here against the Pango. Of course, that means he doesn't make any mistakes, right? But as long as he doesn't go for the dangerous farm, he kind of keeps his distance. Exactly. He makes sure that he doesn't get caught by the Sprout, for example, there. But Zai had an escape plan the whole time, and he's playing around with the Mirana this time. Of course, that Nether Ward has been a bit of a nuisance here for Zai, as he went for a full spell build.
Well,
however, he's going to survive thanks to that Ring of Health.
Yep. And he's got a full stick, so he's going to be just A-okay. So now Taiga is going to join the bottom.
Okay. Boxy can probably hold his own against Taiga for now, especially with the arrow potential. Taiga Just want to make sure that they can keep them on at bay, securing Yuragi's farm. If you're playing MP carry, you gotta make sure he snowballs to a degree from the lane. As in the mid lane, Amar, he's in trouble himself. They get the entangling claws this time. Matamba doesn't have the Savage Roar point, but there's Lucremify saving Amar. And Taiga even joins in. Matamba could be in trouble. Wrath of Nature's been used. He's forced to use the true form. Now he gets some extra HP off it. With the help of Insania, they can maybe turn this around. Going for Yuragi instead. The Inksoul will trigger. Now the entangling claws. Yuragi's going to die. Matamba using the true form in the clutch moment, ensuring that he becomes an unkillable beast. Oh. 2 unkillable beasts.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, did you see that lone Druid bear? Did you see Doge with the Inkswell? That was terrifying. I think it was almost like max move speed, which was ridiculous. How do you run from that? I don't think you can, actually. I was kind of...
MP? Certainly not.
Yeah, no, certainly not. I mean, he TP'd in and unfortunately just immediately takes a death. Zai is going to immediately push the wave as well. And Misha actually makes the call to pull, so it's a bit of free chip damage. There's no wagon here, so just a little bit of chip damage. But Zai, of course, immediately taking advantage of an NP, taking a bit of a leave towards the mid lane. And Matamba now is going to end up rotating through.
Top lane. They're going to catch BZM once again with a combo of Searing Chains plus the arrow. They've silenced Mickey, but Mickey, he's fine with this. Silence is out, Sleight of Fist is in, and that's going to be a dead BZM. Taiga, the next target. They hit him with the Searing Chains as well. No arrow, no need. Taiga will fall.
They're going bottom.
Liquid.
Rolling Thunder from Zai is going to be here onto Yuragi, perfectly locking him down on the edge of the map. Amar's going to rotate on through, does land the disarm onto Matamba, but they can do nothing to save Yuragi, and the bear is simply too tanky. He's just going to leave.
Loving that early point of Savage Roar, where guarantees the kill on Yuragi a second time and nullifies Amar's initiation. Huskar is very much a all-in kind of hero. You know, you jump in, you're hoping to attack whatever hero you're life-breaking to the end of his life, like he's going to do now to Zai. But unfortunately, these disjointing abilities really are a nuisance to him. Now, finally, Zai silenced, though. That's going to be a lot of magical damage to Prep to boost it up even further, and Zai will be killed by the Wrath of Nature.
Ah, pretty cool. Boosted that Wrath
Despite
of Nature
the infused raindrops there, actually, as well. It just went right through it.
Oh, yeah. Even Wrath of Nature level 1 does a ton of damage, especially when you start calculating those bounces. Perfectly timed. I don't know if OG meant to do that, but it did look intentional, so I'll go ahead and give it to them. That was sick.
Yeah.
Arrow flying
Everything
through.
they do is intentional.
Ooh, that's going to sail through 3 heroes, but not clip any of them.
It's almost harder to do that sometimes, right? So he's just demonstrating boxes, just demonstrating his skills in Mirana first, right? And later the arrow's going to hit, like with those Searing Chains. His rotations have been honestly clutch to destroying BZM's farm early. And the DK offlane has not been too successful these days. We've seen him a couple of times in the DPC. And frankly, if he falls off, he feels like a very weak hero. Even if he has okay win rate, I believe, it's not usually off the back of the TK.
Yeah. And I don't think his lane matchup is that good versus an Ember either. Ember, although he is a melee hero, right, can use Sleight of Fist pretty easily to secure CS, as Mickey is running top lane now with a haste. And also under the cover of Moonlight Shadow, they will be able to get a good jump here. Seems like BZM knows something is a miss, as Mickey, looking for the correct target here, is going to be able to at least connect onto Taiga. Silenced up, though, by the Ancient Seal, but now Zai's going to jump on in. Misha's already put down the Nether Ward, but it's quickly being focused, and now it's been destroyed by Boxy. In the meantime, BZM's just been controlled this entire time. They lack the damage, however, to really nuke him, as for a second time, Amar and both Yuragi joining the fight. Damage here onto Boxy is not going to be enough, even with the 1 Burning Spear, but Zai is going to be left behind. And now with 7 stacks of the Burning Spears, he will quickly fall. But Mickey counter-initiating. The kill's going to Insania, as he's going to pick up his 3rd there off the Inkswell. And Amar, he's not done, jumping yet a second time. This time he will secure the kill onto Boxy, so it's at least 2 kills for OG this time around, but Liquid still getting the better of OG in this little skirmish.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really, really good play there by Mickey and Insania. The Inkswell plus a Sleight of Fist, right? Even the Stroke of Fate towards the end, which got him the last Pugna kill. A really impressive job kind of threading the needle there. As they also find a second one here, it's going to be Taiga. Taiga, he's going to fight to the death, almost kills Mickey, but Mickey's capable of running away at time. Lifebreak is available here for Amar. He's called Amar the fighter for a reason, as he goes over to Pangolier. He's the target. Pangolier does not have a lucky shot just yet. Amar trying to use their armor toggles, but he does get stunned by the arrow. That's not going to be sufficient. He's capable of getting away with Zai's kill. Amar, he's playing a true offlaner now, allowing BZM to come back into the lane with a bit more safety.
That was a pretty sick armlet toggle, to say the least. Really made that look easy. Armlet toggle the Starstorm there, which is not the hardest thing to do, but the damage is like kind of disconnected from the animation. So pretty well done to just perfectly time that.
Yeah. Still, the early game is not going too great, obviously, for OG. They're expecting probably a more dominant early game. That said, Husker still hasn't reached his peak. I think now this first power spike with the armlet's going to come up. Maybe you wait till the BKB, and that's when the game starts to go more OG's way.
Yeah.
So we haven't still seen them play to their strengths.
I agree.
I would say the same thing about Liquid, though. They just had good lanes, but like Liquid also needs the big items on the Lone Druid, the big items on the Ember, particularly those Maelstroms that they're both building, apparently.
There's a smoke play going bottom now from OG, where Matumba is currently farming what I like to call the Camp of Death. Already a full Maelstrom on Doge. And it seems like he's going to push one more wave aggressively. He can do this, of course, because he's already taken this Tier 1 tower. So the rest of OG will close the door from behind. It's a decent kill squad here with Misha leading the charge, and now they've got eyes on. Activate the true form, though. They need to drop the Mystic Flare, but that's still not enough damage here. And in fact, TPs are incoming from Liquid to try and turn this fight. Matumba is going to be dusted up, but he just doesn't care. He's got 2,400 HP. Misha, what are you going to do? It's going to take you a year to life drain through that.
He's just gonna die, apparently. BZM, what I really liked about Matumba there was the Savage Roar, right? BZM had the Dragon Tail there to stick him in the Mystic Flare, but he Savage Roar at the right moment, which forced BZM to avoid it, right? And he couldn't Dragon Tail because Matumba was too far away. Well done. As BZM in the top lane, he could be in trouble. Matumba actually joins again. One Savage Roar available.
They're also fighting mid.
There's a Dragon Tail used. Rolling Thunder has been utilized. Uragi's dead in the mid lane. BZM, the target in the top lane. Rolling Thunder misses the second time. They break it to get the shield crash off, and that slow will guarantee the kill as Mickey does fall to Amar in that mid lane.
Yeah, couldn't catch them both, unfortunately, but it looks like the silence just allows Amar to get off a little bit of damage. Looks like out of Remnants, he did have one, but Mickey unable to activate it in time. And is going to fall there to the dots of Amar. Now that's one step closer towards the BKB, which I think is going to be a very important item. They're actually going double Maelstrom, by the way, on Liquid, as Zai is committed into his. Triple Maelstrom even, pardon me.
Yeah, one on the Bear, one on the Ember, one on the Pango. I mean, against an Nature's Prophet, not that surprised, right? Like, 'cause they do need a lot of deep push. And also, when you watch Matumba play Lone Druid, you watch everyone else play Lone Druid, and you go, is this the same build? Why is he doing a different build? When everyone's doing MOM Desolator, Matumba was going first item MKB, right? Like, he's a little bit more creative with these builds. I like it. I think Maelstrom Basher is still a viable build. And particularly for this game, really smart idea. Gets you mixed damage against the DK, which is a big deal. The deep push against Nature's Prophet. There's a lot of utility here. Misha, he's going to be the target. There's the Inkswell. He's going to be stunned by the Inkswell and killed by a double damage Mirana. However, Amar has different plans. He destroys this Pangolier. And I'm going to take a 5 for a 3, as Insania could also be in trouble. His old teammate trying to kill him, but they do get a silence in time, so Taiga will not be able to finish the job.
Yeah, nice footwork there. This is still likely to be a tower down. Amar, especially with BKB, is going to be very fearless. It's actually they TP mid. They're looking for another fight. They've caught Mickey. The Orchid here out from, I think, Uragi is going to not allow him to jump, but the Bear in trouble. Is going to fall 300 gold towards Amar.
Yeah, that's worth almost more than the kill, honestly. Amar, with that BKB, as you said, he's really eager to fight. And it is Amar as well, so I don't think this man has a stop button in his keyboard.
No, I believe that one has been unbound.
Yes, indeed. And I like how they acknowledge this, that Amar's going to go crazy when they pick him a Husker or a Timbersaw, and they're just going to play around him in general, right? OG is backing him up in all of his plays, and you could argue that maybe this is overly aggressive sometimes, though it has worked out for them until now. But as OG likes to say, as No-Tail like to say, right, when it's better for you to all make the same mistake together than for you to not make a mistake at all, right?
I think we're about to see a smoke play from Liquid. I think this is just off of Zai's Maelstrom. He's pretty close to Blink as well. Mickey is a bit further from his. 60-minute power run is going to spawn bottom as Uragi finally secures that top tier 1 tower. Liquid not too interested in defending that one. I think you're probably waiting for a blink on Zai before I'm really eager to fight into this BKB Huskar, because if he gets off BKB before you can get a significant amount of damage in onto him with the armlet toggles, with the casual possessed mask, he's mighty strong here, this Huskar.
I agree, and I like that point because the only instant stun you have besides that Rolling Thunder with Blink will be the Savage Roar, right? And you don't usually want to use that to initiate, so it's a difficulty. Searing Chains, Arrow, Inkswell, all useless against that BKB. And Amar knows as well, like you can tell he's salivating. He's already queued the Mantles of Intelligence, right? Yep. He's ready. Yep.
Oh, he's actually going to go for the Sange before, what did he have before Axe? That's right, thank you.
I like the Sanj. Heaven Salver's pretty useful this game, so I don't mind it. I also think it's a casual stat stick that's a bit more useful than the Ags. So I can see Amar going for that before the Ags. It's not like they're lacking initiation right now.
Yep.
And we've seen a Huskar before scaling quite decently in the open qualifiers when we're casting him. So my opinion on this hero changed a little more.
Oh, okay. He's just juking me. He thought about going in on the BZM, but he's going to decide against it.
Probably the worst target, right, to go on as a dragon.
It would be a pretty nice kill now. Of course, they don't know how much gold he's carrying. They don't have a bounty onto the game, but we are blessed with all sight, which means BZM now finally has Blink Dagger. They would have delayed it by possibly another minute had they committed there, but of course, the kill is not guaranteed.
As a Liquid, and it'll continue to push this tower bottom. Of course, with the Bear, this tower's going to fall relatively quickly. Even without the Desolator, with just a Basher build, it's still fine. And there we go. The Shard is going to be the next item for Matumba as well. That Shard, a really big deal, because it allows you to actually use a Savage Roar when you're stunned on either side, right? So, honestly, that Shard is kind of key.
I'm gonna hold on. I think we're about to fight because it looks like, yeah, Amar is doing Roche, and he's gonna have it mighty soon. But Liquid interested in fighting this. Zai with the Rolling Thunder. He's heading into the pit. He's too late.
He did it in time. Zai came in, but it's not going to be really an interruption anymore. It's just Kim saying hi. Zai needs to get out. Or are they still fighting in the mid lane? They actually do catch BZM. BZM gets saved by the life drain. Then they go for Zai. He's been silenced, but it's not enough damage to Mystic Flare. They put Amar with the Entangling Claw. It's going to be Yuragi actually that kills him there with one last auto attack. Matumba Man won't lose his Bear. And he summons another one as BZM goes forward. Dragon Tail, they killed off Mige, and the second Bear could be in trouble as well. But Matumba is capable of Savage Roaring himself to safety. They're going to have to give up this tower, but at least they don't lose any more people here. But OG, they've hit their stride now.
Yeah, they have. Certainly with taking that first Aegis, they'll gladly trade, of course, the Tier 2 tower away for that as they finally pick up the Tier 1 mid. Radiant, man. Radiant with a Huskar, right? That's why you got to be careful with how quickly they can actually go through Roche, because that was...
Can you explain that for those people that don't understand that? Maybe.
Yeah, so basically Radiant is just a bit more favored when it comes towards actually fighting for Roche, and as Roche, especially with how strong he used to be back when he gave cheese for a while. Right now it's just Shard on second Roche. Yes, but even this first Aegis has kind of become your very typical. Okay, this is going to secure us space on the map to farm. It's going to secure us Tier 2s, and it's going to set us up for the second Roche fight, which is the one where we want to end the game. That's kind of more or less where Dota is kind of at on a pro level. And Radiant are just a little bit more favored for that because they have kind of two towers you can quickly TP to, being mid, of course, and top. Whereas Dire, they're only limited basically to mid tier 1 if it's still up, which usually falls rather quickly, and the Outpost, which is a 6-second TP plus 1 second for every hero that shows up, right? So that's not fast enough to really contest the Roche. Plus OG, well, Radiant in general, they have this double staircase. I mean, both teams now have it. I believe Dire didn't used to. But the triangle is just a lot easier to hold in general, this kind of area of the map. So Radiant is heavily fortified and favored when it comes to Roche fights, generally speaking.
And this last patch, the triangles got fortified even further, right? Which is why you wanted a map change. Well, last elevation or map change patch, right? So yeah, very, very good points. And of course, most of you probably already knew that. If you did, relish the fact that you're really good at Dota. But if you didn't, you know, always nice to make sure that people understand these basic interactions because, as Richie says, they are key to pro Dota. And that's why Huskar, for example, is very good for Radiant because not only is he a Roche taker, but he's also a tempo hero. So he plays better with his Aegis than, say, for example, I don't know, Nursa, right? Which is also a tempo hero, but not as fast a pusher as a Huskar.
And now,
especially without a double damage.
Exactly, yeah, true, that double damage. And now it feels like Amar is not going to really be punished. I wouldn't say going straight Sanj is greedy. This is what Huskars would like to do ideally, of course, because it synergizes with Berserker's Blood. But for
stat sticks.
Yes, but for a while there, Amar did consider going straight Ags, just because the game was in a little bit of a precarious position, right? Ags is the fight now item, while Sanj first is the I want to farm a little bit more, I want to have more regen in these fights and scale later, right? But the fact that he's able to secure Roche and get this Aegis, which is going to easily secure him his Ags, like this kind of quote-unquote greed or potential play that Liquid could have looked to maybe kind of open the game up with, it's not going to pan out for them. This Ags is going to be online on top of the Sanj. On top of still, by the way, a 9-second BKB.
Yep. And the Sanj is not only good for farming here, but it's also good for pushing a little bit better, right? If you're going to look at the stats between Ags and Sanj, in terms of like what it gives you for the gold, right? And that's what they were able to accomplish with those Aegis. They were able to take 2 tier 2s right off the Aegis alone, and they didn't really need to fight for them. So like we were mentioning a couple of times, just getting the stat stick sometimes more efficient, better, and Amar will still be able to get an Ags at a decent timing.
And here goes Liquid.
I think
Zai finally has Blink Dagger.
Oh, he already has
and
it.
This is
he already has the Ags.
And this is what they were waiting for to fight. But again, Amar's very strong, 9-second BKB, and still backed by an Aegis for over a minute. This seems very ambitious from Liquid, but a good jump.
The Ags just got delivered. Misha's going to be the first to die, and Davian as well, immediately. There's Amar just jumping in. He's going to lose his first life, and maybe his second. Are there going to be any TPs by OG? Okay, there's Misha, and Amar's going to TP out. Cancel, quick. Okay, OG is capable of getting away with Amar's life there. Though, of course, that was a BKB usage of the 9-second BKB. There was a basher on the bear, so he really kind of played with fire there.
Yep. Okay.
I don't know, but yeah, we said it. Amar the fighter, right? Yep. That's what the F stands for, of course. At least in this broadcast.
The whole Roche point was kind of why I was a little bit confused, or surprised is a better word, to see Zai also opt into the Maelstrom for then 3 Maelstroms on his team. I thought for sure this was going to either be, if not straight a Blink game, perhaps a Yule's game, just so he could be a little bit more threatening for that first Roche fight. Because again, he is their big lockdown. He's their big initiation. Obviously, he was a little bit slow to get in there because he went for Maelstrom first, right? He does a lot of damage, but he doesn't have that quick catch and team fight. I think with Blink, perhaps that Roche fight looks differently. It's not a guaranteed win. Things can go crazy in Dota, as we know, but you know, I think they do manage to get a little bit more of a fight in there while taking the tier 2.
Okay, fair enough. I see that point. I understand that Zai's concern right now is that they might lack damage because you have a lot of like poke in general with this team, but especially with this build of the bear, which is not the Desolator Mask of Madness build that we see, for example, Gunner building, you don't have the burst damage that might be needed to kill off a Huskar, and Zai might have thought, oh, I need a little bit more, right? In addition to a little bit more deep push. And I think that's where the logic stands, and now we're going to see if it's effective, because what this build allows you to do that the Yule's Blink Dagger does not as effectively is cut waves easily. So now they have a lot of contingency plans on Liquid to be able to take this later if need be, and they don't need to necessarily fight head-on to win this game. They could just honestly rat for a while. They have a Lone Druid, they have a Pango. They're good at ratting. An Ember.
Yeah, they are.
Just avoid fights.
And OG is mighty strong right now. They've got 2 very, very farmed cores. Their supports are the ones that are a little bit more the back markers, which will start to have a bit of an impact as we get later into the game. As there goes Amar.
Yep, and there goes the Mirana. Immediately killed off. Savage Roar, unfortunately, not going to help enough, but there we see the Shard coming into play.
Get out of there, Doge.
Because Ancient Seal did not quite silence him if you have the Shard.
Who has a Dom? How do they have the Harpy Scout? Oh, Skyrath does. What an interesting build.
We have seen that a couple of times. I think it was you and I that cast that game where they got Grimstroke with the Dom as well.
That's right.
Insania, okay, he's going to be stuck in the trees. Here comes Zai to break them for him. I think Insania might still die, but they actually see an opportunity to go for Amar. Life Drain just got broken, so Amar has no healing, but he activates BKB. And is he fine for now?
Yep,
they cover him with a fireball.
TP.
He TPs in the middle of this, trying to get a lucky bash, but they're not going to find it. Nice to crap as well here from Misha. And Captain Save, unfortunately, has to fall, but at least he saves his teammate in the process. Skyrath Mage is also capable of getting away, as BZM has Blink Dagger, so he's going to be fine as well. All right, not bad. I do like how Misha's playing this Pugna 5, honestly.
Yeah.
He is there to die for his teammates.
Yeah, agreed. And I believe they killed off the Harpy Scout, or it got left behind. Something like that. It's hard to find the Harpy with all the treants on the map. But what he really has now, of course, all the creeps got overhauled in 731, all the jungle creeps, most of them actually. And the Harpy Scout now has a takeoff ability, which gives you a huge flying AoE vision, both in day and night, which is really crucial for pushing up high ground. I noted in the draft about how much I like this Pango pick because of how well he defends high ground, especially when teams look to push up, especially when OG, they have no really great way at just getting into high ground, right? Like Amar's got to jump in, you got to blink, you got your R, you can TP. Like it's better than, I don't know, like a Slark or something like that, but it's not ideal, right? So without having that vision on the Harpy Scout, it does become very difficult to find a good opening. So that's a really strong tool for pushing up high ground. I really like that solution on the Skyrath Mage.
There's a couple of things as well beyond that. Like Ember is a hero that likes to hide in the trees sometimes to cut the wave. Same with Pango and Lone Druid, right? Hell, Lone Druid in some cases, he's going to hide in the trees while his bear pushes the wave in front of him, right? So it makes it much easier to be able to catch these heroes. That Harpy Scout, we've seen that exact trick with that exact same creep and Essay as well, with the Grimstroke picking up a Helm the Dominator. And it just looks really good. Always the Harpy Scout, by the way.
Yep.
There are other creeps you can dominate, of course, but that's the most valuable one because the vision it provides is honestly crazy. And you can see it again. They got another Harpy Scout.
Yeah, although I guess
You can see
the
it flying
neutrals
around.
aren't too happy. This is a no-fly zone, as they will be looking to take him out. Amar, defend the Harpy!
Okay. Yeah, that was the neutrals attacking their old comrade, I guess, is betrayal or something.
That might have keyed him in, because the way that neutrals will aggro is that they share vision with both Radiant and Dire because of the way that they're coded for some reason. So that might have keyed in OG to the fact that there's actually a liquid ward that they just placed down on this ward spot. I'm not sure if they would have scouted that, because they still were flying over the camp, but it was kind of weird for the creeps to just aggro like that.
Sometimes the ability counts as like an active ability, and that aggroes them too.
Yeah.
There's those things as well in Dota. Okay, Liquid is thinking about fighting. They have a high ground control, but against a Huskar, that might not matter that much, as they're only putting the bear in front. There's a Dragon Tilt, good Savage Roar. That could be their initiation, but needs something else. Rolling Thunder, there we go. They're gonna go for Huskar, but he takes the BKB, and Amar's fighting for now.
Straight from
Catches the
Matumba.
real lone druid, but the dash immediately. Now Matumba, he's still in trouble, still stunned. The arrow to help him, Savage Roar on top of that, and to be able to bring that Amar with the help of the life drain. He's surviving a bit longer, but he's going to fall. Misha, you healed up as much as you could, but unfortunately, your teammate's dead, and maybe you might be as well. If you run the backlines, BCM on top of that, it's going to be a team wipe. The moment Amar falls, the kingdom around him crumbles.
Yeah, good initiation by Zai. Unfortunately, the roll-up, he doesn't quite get to turn around as quickly as he'd like to. And, I mean, it couldn't go more perfect for Liquid here. This was the big moment, right? This is what OG were looking to force. And just to kind of continue on my point earlier, the reason why, even though Dire does have high ground here, it's so much easier to invade because you have, like, reasonably 1, 2, 3, 4 ways of getting in as Radiant, especially if you have those tier 1s down. Whereas for this triangle, it's much more difficult, right? But there's Aegis now. Who took the shard? I believe it was Matumba. And Aegis is on himself.
No, Matumba already had it.
So then Zai already had it as well. Ember? Probably Ember.
No, Grimstroke. No? Oh. Which one of them already had it?
Yeah,
actually?
not sure.
One of the two. It doesn't. Maybe Ember. I think Ember didn't have it a second ago, so
Yeah.
either or. I mean, you were pretty much running out of shards possible, right? Mirana's the only one that doesn't get hers. You get your shard where you get a real animation on that shard, and that's why.
But a really good turn on this one, as even the Force Staff was saved pretty much last minute by Insania, which pretty much kites OG to their death. They just slightly end up overextending. Liquid fighting around their own vision, and they take a massive fight, potentially, you know, a huge momentum swing, in fact, in this entire game. I mean, look at the net worth lead. This wasn't a huge net worth lead by any means. It was only like 3 or 4K, which at 30 minutes, 25 minutes, not huge. But now it's starting to really swing into Liquid's control a bit more.
Okay. It's very true. Liquid is hitting now their stride, of course, as Matumba is getting those important items that AC. A big deal for this bear. Needed a little bit more burst damage. I will mention, by the way, that he is not going to go for the Wraithband build or the Bracer build or whatever. He's not got no stat items, only branches. I swear, if those, I think there is a secret convention of Lone Druid players where like Quakeva and Gunner and all these people like join in. It's like, oh yeah, Mask Madness, oh yeah, Bracer minute 25, yeah. And then Matumba is just the outsider, you know, he's the real Rick or whatever, and he just never gets joined into these conferences. His builds are always so different from every other Lone Druid player. I'm not saying this as if it's wrong. I think his build is perfectly fine. It's just really interesting how he deviates from the other Lone Druids. If you guys are Lone Druid fanatics like myself, it's really interesting to always check out what Matumba's thinking is good on the hero.
Yep. Well, I think it's because he did not attend the conference. Instead, he just requested the briefs, or the shorts, if you will.
Yes, it was. The minutes were poorly translated, unfortunately. Yes, well done. Matumba, he's going to lose his bear here, unfortunately. Savage Roar is not going to save him because they just, you know, chained their stunts nicely. Has 300 gold going the way of Amar. But what is he even going to scale into? Shard is decent, sure, but at this point, Huskar's hit is peak. There's all the other items are luxury. Satanic is nice. Shard is good as well. But at this point, they need to start playing with their other hero, that being the NP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's kind of gone for this physical damage build, a little bit of mix now with the Witchblade, but he needs to get this AC online, I dare say, especially versus the Lone Druid, because Matumba still will have the option of speccing into more armor, more Wraith Bands, more HP, and I mean, if you haven't seen it yet, if you missed that Quincy 4 Zoomers game, you're in for a treat if Matumba decides to invest into it. It's something like 2,100 gold, I believe, for 4 Wraith Bands, but still, the amount of armor you get, the amount of HP it grants you, you're walking around like 5k HP with like 60 armor. It is ridiculous.
I love that build, but again, to me, it's even more interesting than that build is the fact that Matumba doesn't care. He goes against the grain every single time. And we'll see what this next item is going to be, actually. I'm not really sure. After the AC.
For Matumba, well, BKB, oh, well, it's already been finished on the bear. I think he just probably got a TP scroll delivered. So nothing too amazing. Approaching level 25 already, but OG, they're going to be staring down the basically a double barrel here of Lone Druid and his bear Doge, his hunting Doge.
I see a bear. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Lacoste. The bear is going to be hitting his tower, but Thomas has to join with his real hero.
Here comes
He has no bear left for 25 seconds. But activates the BKB. He wants to get rid of the Pugna, and he will. Oh, he's safe for now. There we go. Misha will finally fall.
Mars on the backlines.
It's the backlines together with Yuragi, and they burst on the enemy support. Samar now on the run from the bear, who wants to fight him 1v1. Matumba, however, loses
doesn't have
his
another
partner,
bear.
and that's going to be a really difficult time for them as they lack the damage. Mika has to come in to deal some more. He has the BKB, but gets attacked by Amar, and that taunt from the life break will kill him. Matumba summons a second bear for the Savage Roar, but is that going to be sufficient? That bear's going to cover his escape. He's been leashed inside the Sprout. He can't get away.
Oh, no.
He's now burning up. He's been disarmed. Matumba will die. His bear will die as well. That's going to be his second bear. So even now when they kill him, he'll revive without that Lone Druid bear. Oh, actually, he'll have it once he comes back. But he does die twice, loses 2 bears, that's 600 gold plus whatever the hero is worth. That is a bunch of money given the way of OG.
Yeah, you can hardly bear to see it, can you? I mean, that was just really painful. And that's the kind of fight that OG are definitely looking for, right? One where Amar is just unleashed. He quickly realizes, you know what, guys, we'll deal with this bear last, right? And just completely shuts down the backlines, which were making a huge difference again. Now finally we see this net worth shaken up after that fight, but the Liquid supports had gotten much more farm than what the OG supports were looking at, which does become impactful, I would say, like after 30 minutes. Once these BKBs are a bit shorter cooldowns, you would like your supports to at least be able to have their spells and items, if they have any, be impactful. And that really just wasn't the case now for OG. But here, after this fight, they finally got a little bit more money. Misha almost has an Aether Lens.
The play was also fantastic in general by OG, and Liquid does not have too much time to gather their bearings, but they'll be able to at least set up this assault with a Moonlight Shadow, seeing if they can find at least say a Pugna. They'll take a Pugna at this point. They go for the Thunder. Okay, Yuragi. That's much bigger than a Pugna, but Zai realizes, oh no, he got leashed. He's in the middle of the Sprout, and Zai is forced to use the roll-up there to actually escape it. But that means he has no roll-up any longer. Still has the Blink Dagger in 4 though. Zai gonna come here to cut the lane, and there's the other leash plus the Orchid. Zai still has the Yule Scepter. He's creating a lot of space for his team right now. Zai, the little Pangolier, on an adventure, gets slowed, tries to get a bit further with a shield crash, another blink, cuts the lane. Someone stop this Pangolier.
Amar's TPing.
He has a TP in 20 though. Everyone's TPing for Zai. This man's gotta die. Yule Scepter avoids the Ancient Seal. But now he's finally going to die. Amar, once he sees Zai, he's not going to let him survive.
Yeah, huge amounts of space, though. Huge amounts of space. We'll take a look at that,
well done,
that last big team fight here. And you can see Misha does a fantastic job of just kiting away. Mostly Zai, right? Mostly Zai he kites away, because Zai has to kind of focus him down to secure that kill. Even actually Insania's got to get a little bit closer to apply the Ink Swell, and things go very poorly from there, right? So although Misha does end up still taking a death in this fight, actually I believe he buys back, right? Yeah, it was
he does.
A great fight for OG, even fighting through that Misha perfectly.
Misha's taking advantage of the Pugna strength, right? As a 5, he's one of the few heroes that provides this kind of weird save where you kind of have to kill him first no matter what. You know, you can't just waste his ultimate or anything. And Liquid has been forced to constantly engage that way. Honestly, it's the right way to do it. But, oh, that was a great block by the Sprout. And now Matumba's forced to use the BKB on the bear. He now gets taunted. You can't see it, but he has been taunted. He has to use the Savage Roar towards the end. That saves him, thanks to the Inkswell as well. BZM sees the opportunity to go for the Mirana. The BZM does not have the backup just yet. Instead, they'll go for the towers. They can't move. They can't escape, but they can be fortified. That
would have been very, very painful for Liquid had they lost Doge there, because he didn't have another. Matumba didn't have another for 40 seconds. Now it's coming off cooldown, so they can afford to take a loss on it, as BZM showing off his own BKB now. 9-second duration to secure the tower, which is denied.
Boxy, 112 damage versus Amar's almost 300. Oh, actually 300. Good job, Boxy. Showcasing supports have a say as well on how games go.
Amar is also, he definitely subscribes to the school of thought that says Refresher is the most broken item in the game. It's hard to disagree with him, to be honest, but I have noticed him building it on basically every single hero. Certainly the Mars, right? It's like his 3rd or 4th item almost every game. I've noticed probably just Timbersaw, right? He's not buying it on, which would make sense. Not much to refresh on a Timber.
Here's why I think here's my Jenkins-like theory.
Okay.
As new generations come up, right, and they keep watching these TikToks, they lose their attention span and their patience, right? So no longer does Amar have the mental capacity to wait for his cooldowns. He requires that refresher so he can actually keep playing the game and remain sane, right? Even if this item wasn't good, he would still build it because, again, it's the lack of patience these young up-and-comers have. That's why he's fighting all the time. That's why he lost his Aegis earlier for no reason. See that.
By the way, does this NP Sprout talent, which you take at 20 now, does that pierce magic immunity? Because that definitely
yes, it did.
That stopped Pango in his role. So
I did not know that, by the way. I found out today, but yes, it does. And it's
I quickly wanted to bring it up because that was bonkers. There's very few things. I definitely didn't think an NP, at least this early at level 20, would counter. But eventually, NP is the class of heroes that just kill a Pango when he's rolling around, like a Drow, TB, Luna, you know.
Any ranged hero, sniper.
Yeah, yeah, especially with decent range. By the way, third Roshan now down. Did you see what it had? Refresher Shard or Axe Blessing?
I did not, but we can check now.
Looks like an
Axe
Blessing for BZM, most likely.
Ah, yes. That's definitely it. He definitely did not have enough money for the Ags. That's great, actually. That Flying Dragon, a big deal to play with the Pango, who's the main source of team play, right? You just kind of stay near the wall. It's going to be really difficult to bonk this DK, sorry. And now, there he goes.
They've got vision
like, guys, look.
with the Harpy Scout.
Oh,
just look at the vision.
Him and the Harpy.
This is OG's vision, guys. Look at how much they can see.
They got a Marvel. That's going to be his first life. Once again, a lack of patience. But Yuragi could be in trouble. He's trying to kill Amaran as the BKB gets back immediately. Mickey will lose his life. Amar comes back with a vengeance. And the Savage Roar.
Amar in trouble again.
Him, though. He's been leashed again. Amar acts as the BKB, going for the real Lone Druid, now for the Bear instead. He has to kill something. The Bear's still stunned, and he's going to fall. Lone Druid has to summon it again with the Inkswell. He knows he has to dispel. He needs to stun. He gets it off on Amar. But the Force Staff offensively, and Matumba could be in trouble. Matumba's actually been silent stunned now. In the Fireball, Matumba's going to lose the real hero. True form not in time.
Wow.
They just lost their real win condition here. Mika had to buy back as well. These racks are most likely going to fall.
I think this could be the game, although there's no buyback right now on the Matumba man. Lone Druid, even if he did, he wouldn't have a bear for about another minute and a half. OG, they're going to look to secure top lane of barracks, but my goodness, that coordination in that team fight, two big plays there. Oh, Amar's going for a trip. Oh my god, this is amazing. Are they going to actually kill him here? Not enough fountain hits, even though they do stack now. Amar, he's going to stay alive, and in fact, they even disarm Zai to prevent any further shenanigans. You do get pulled really far by that. I think Amar, he's learned his lesson. Zai's going to go in a second time, this time bolstered by the Inkswell, turning around a big stun now onto BZM as Amar jumping around, does secure the barracks. Gems on deck, but Zai is going to be silenced and trapped inside of the Sprout as Mickey is starting to tank damage now from Amar's burning spears. He's got another life break at the ready. Up to level 25 now on Amar, which means his spears do pure damage now.
Yep, and that means, that doesn't matter for the towers though, that he's going to be destroying here. I think the Force Staff, by the way, was from Insania. Yeah, now that we see it again, Insania could be in trouble here. He's going to be leashed and silenced, killed off Zai. Going forward, hoping to kill off Taiga. Taiga is going to be the target. He does die, but Amar holding his own, finishing off Zai. Mickey is the one holding the high ground right now as he's trying to kill off the MP. He's dealing a fair amount of damage, but lacks the sustained damage. He needs to kill off Yuragi, and Yuragi now being saved by Misha. As the life break hits another support, Amar is decimating Liquid's draft right now. Nobody can stop him. Liquid, they just need to do something with this Ember. Lone Druid is back again. Yuragi's once against the target. They know they can kill him. He does silence him though. Immediately the Saboteur cancel the TP and Yuragi will fall. Liquid will at least get one kill and they won't lose the last lane of racks. This game is still possible for them, but they took a big blow there.
They did, yeah, that they did. Let's take a look at that fight that really broke that one wide open. The coordination here that I didn't get to quite say because OG were, of course, being OG and nearly diving the fountain. But check this out, right? They actually passed the cheese over from BZM over to Amar, which is crucial here because Amar ends up just barely living. Not to mention Yuragi with his fresh Satanic. He actually surprises Mickey, wasn't expecting that item, so when he does make the jump, a very successful jump onto the backlines, they're unable to actually nuke through the NP. Here's the cheese coming through from Amar. Yoink, back to basically full HP, and from there the fight was just completely untenable for Liquid.
Thank you for pointing that out. That's a very clutch moment in that fight. And then from then on, they really, without the Lone Druid, I don't think you can bring down the Huskar, and Amar realizes that, right? He's the main source of burst damage they have. Unfortunately, we're seeing the weaknesses of the Ember carry mid. I mean, technically Mick is the mid laner, so I guess we'll call him mid laner here. He doesn't have the burst damage, sorry, the sustained damage to kill off a Huskar, so he goes in for the Sleight of Fist, soon you'll have 2 charges, but even then, once you waste those 2, if the Huskar or the MP aren't dead, he can't really walk up to them and kill them. He'll just die. Especially because that BKB got completely nullified by the Ags on the Huskar. 3 seconds of the taunt is too much for an Ember to last through.
Yep. Yeah, it's a taunt that, it's a single targeted taunt, but of course, like all taunts, they're completely undispellable. This one also goes through BKB.
And they pierce.
Yeah.
I think they all do, right? Dual Berserker's Call, right?
Dual Berserker's Call. This one, I believe so. Yeah, I can't.
Sure, I'm sure chat will find the one exception if there is. So we trust you guys, detectives. Go ahead.
It's hard to say for sure, but a smoke play now for OG and a DD run on Amar. Zai has to use the Yules here to dispel it, and he's not going to be stunned up quite yet, but Mickey just dead 100-0 as Zai's even falling to the range damage here between the level 4 Black Dragon and Amar. OG really feeling themselves, though. They will throw out the panic voice line, but unfortunately, that's the Rolling Thunder down and nothing to show for it. And in fact, they might just find Matumba completely isolated. A bash here onto Yuragi into the arrow, which catches him here. They need to get him down 100-0, and they have. No Satanic Firm, but he's going to buy back and look to get back in the fight as Amar refreshing jumps right back in onto Matumba. They're onto the main bear. Only brown boots and 4 GG branches. He's not going to last versus Amar's DD rune. He does have buyback at least.
Great use of the refresher. Even if he did last, he life breaked and refresher, right? So he actually had a second life break just in case there. Really clever there by Amar. As they find the Doge again. It's burning up, but he has the Ink Salt to save him though. That does carry Dispel now, of course, because the Shard. OG is like, guys, I think we're missing a tier 2. Amar's like, I don't care, let's go for the tier 4s. BZM is joining him. I'm gonna try to finish off these tier 4s, realizing Yuragi was right all along. Yep. Let's go for the tier 2s instead. Let's play it safe.
And I think in Yuragi's book, he's saying, guys, come on, I bought back. Like, let's secure Megas.
Yes. Good point. Amar, happy to go up to the high ground again. This is where he feels at home.
This is where Pangos are at the strongest, though. As soon as you're trying to get inside of his base, he really likes playing pinball right in this area.
Yep. And he's looking for that opportunity, right? Especially with the Ink Swell to set it up.
That could be just what they need, but they don't have an Ember Spirit for 30 seconds, and they're not going to wait.
They have to go in. 10 seconds for that Dragon Form. They have to use it now. The Ink Swell. It's not going to be enough. The Life Rain is saving Amar. Where's the damage coming from? The cup is finally over. Savage Roar, but they're just keeping him at bay. They can't kill anyone just yet. And there's the opportunity for OG to just go up high ground. In fact, they're going to go and find a Pangolier. That's the main source of team fight. He's been destroyed. Goodbye to Zai. They're going for the bear as well. Matumba, man. He gotta save his bear, but he's been leased inside the trees. And he's going to die as well. No more bear for 20 seconds, and apparently no more lone druid. No, he's at least capable of making it back home.
Has another bear in 15, but this is probably Megas at least, Avo.
It is. And if I know OG, will they stay high ground? Yeah, they will. That's the OG I know.
Like, the question becomes, will they dive the Ancient to the Fountain? The answer is yes, as BZM's inside the Ancient right now. Yuragi's not going to walk in. That's for chumps. He's going to TP to the other side of the Ancient, get bashed now by the bear of Matumba. But the damage onto Matumba is really starting to stack up now as BZM also focuses onto the main lone druid. And even though they get the Searing Chains off, Mickey dies to Taiga in the Fountain. And it's OG who take game number 1 in the makeup series.
Well done, OG. Honestly, a Huskar lineup winning this late, very impressive. I think we're seeing how this hero can be utilized a bit more than just a cheese hero that destroys the lane.